What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, here with a video to discuss my match with Jeff Dabe, which happened this past weekend at AWC All or Nothing. It was an awesome event, really well put together, a lot of good matches. And my match with Jeff was pretty interesting. We think it's worth talking about, not only because I won, but because I had to change my game plan up and had to make some adjustments.
Yeah, exactly. We went in thinking one way, and then in the match, you're like, nah, it's not working. Got to change it up. And like, lucky that you have multiple tools in your tool belt, and you were able to change it, and you were confident in changing it.
Yeah,
because I feel like a lot of arm wrestlers get stuck in their own
It blows
move,
me away how many guys I see that have been arm wrestling for years and they just get stuck trying the same thing over and over and over, waiting for it to work. And that's something that we definitely preach here at Table Monkeys, the idea of being versatile, because the more versatile you are, the more ability you're going to have to change it up when needed. So not only did the game plan that we went in with not work exactly how I wanted it to, but Dave also made an adjustment, which then made the game plan really not work. So that was when I really had to make another adjustment altogether, right?
So for him doing that, right?
So we'll start with round one and just work our way through the match and explain kind of how it went. So the game plan going in, right?
Was Jeff Dabe, like, if you look at the footage of him losing, he typically loses to like a high sweeping top roll where you attack his knuckle, sweep to the side, and he really has no defense for that. He kind of just gets taken out of the side of his shoulder. So we thought, okay, that's the way to beat him, right? But in practice, you're not really doing that much. You're typically hooking, right? So that's where you're most comfortable.
I trained it a lot in the gym, but in practice I don't really go there, and I think that hindered me in the sense that I wasn't able to hit there as much as I wanted. Now, I had mentally prepared myself for what I wanted to do, which was start a little back on the pad and really shoot up and over to get that height on him, and then drive straight to the side. In practice, when I did pull with him the one time, he was a lot more open. He wasn't as close and as tall. So the first thing that was different when I got there on the table round one was that he was much taller, much closer to his hand, which and very carved in. And because his hand is so thick and fat, which you can see in the videos, it doesn't look as carved as it is, but it felt like he was like this on me, while the ref was like, no, he's okay, like a little bit of wrist, but for the most part, it wasn't coming out much. So that made it a lot harder for me because I have to kind of get around before I can get up and post over. So it took a lot more work to get out of his hand than I wanted. The first slip, I ended up getting an elbow foul. So right away, I'm like, oh shit, is this not going to go how I expected? The second one, I got out of his hand, and okay, fine. So that's first thing with experience. Like, if this was my first or second year in, or like earlier on in my career, I know that like first little thing not going as planned would have like screwed me up so much. So just having the presence of mind to be like, okay, that's fine. Like, what do we do? Just stick with the plan and keep your head down. And that's how I got to the strap. Once I got to the strap, same thing. I felt like, okay, now I've got what I want because I've got the strap. He was still really carved in. So same thing, when I went out and up, I end up falling down into a bit of a King's move, which I had said before the match, like, if I ended up in King's move round one, that's not where I want to be. And I went down kind of quick, realized that like I'd opened up and he wasn't making any initiation, so I stood right back up and kind of got like close. So I end up like down here, and then I come back up like this and start to wait here and work on that monstrous hand.
Yeah, it looked like he wasn't really making any adjustments in that round. He was just kind of holding on and waiting, which was helpful to you. And when you went for that initial drive, you did open him up a little bit, and he kind of dipped down, which made it easier for you to work all your adjustments and then get closer to your hand.
Yeah, I think if he had stayed tall and not opened as much, I would have been in a much worse position, where when I went to adjust, he would have had the advantage to kind of pull back on me. But because, like you said, because he opened up a bit and we were both kind of stuck in this waiting position, as soon as it felt it stop, I don't know if I thought about it, but what I think about when I think about that now is like when Devin and Dennis, when he was like, as soon as he felt it stop, it was time to go to work. And I think that kind of kicked into my head. It was like, the match has stopped. It's time to go to work. So I started trying to work his thumb and turn his thumb over a bit. I could feel that coming into a hook was kind of there. But I still, like, I had won enough of the height in the beginning with the strap that it was like keeps him like get height to get his hand, attack his thumb, go back to height, attack his thumb, go back, and I was kind of going back and forth and back and forth on those two until I had him turned over a bit that I could really get up on top of my hand. And then one move, because I do practice my hook a lot in practice, that's been feeling really good, is once I'm up here in a hook is to kind of tuck it in and then roll over, and I could just feel that was there. He was already opened up, so I did that, pressed him to the pad, which was actually a good way to finish him because it didn't take much effort at all to finish him on that one. So, okay, great. Round one, we're all good. Then he made an adjustment. Now, even though he was taller than I expected in the beginning, now he's even taller. Artem, the fucking Russian spy, is over in his corner. And obviously he told him, like, hit high, because on go now he hits high, and that huge monstrous hand just makes it impossible for me to get out.
You elbow foul on that first one?
I elbow foul both times, actually. The second one he was going to pin me either way, but I didn't want him to get a pin, so I like pulled my elbow off the pad, got called for the foul, so 2 fouls, and I lost that round. I went back to the corner, and I remember saying to you, I was like, I feel like he's fighting high with me now. I think I have a chance to drop it in. And I can even feel it on the second slip. Like I went to go high, and then I almost, like, as I'm all opened up, as I'm all down here trying to slip, I could feel that this was there. And I almost came in, like, to try to get that. And then he got my hand more. And then that was when I was like, no, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I think that I kind of felt that, and I was like, okay, I got to get to.
And round one kind of gave you a little bit of confidence on the going inside, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so hard for you to get his thumb turned a little bit and get over your hand.
Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, it was. I felt like that was harder when I practice pulled him than it was when I pulled him for real. Whereas I felt like it was easier to get up on his hand in the practice pull than it was in the real match. So it was like he made the adjustment too.
Yeah.
So yeah, once I felt that he was adjusting to going high, again, we feel like this, like 3 planes of pressure. We really use that a lot. So now I know he's fighting for this up-down pressure. It left me that opportunity to come across and try to drop him in the hook. He attacks a little bit more, and his hand is so big, I end up a little bit on the defensive side, but I'm able to get that thing turned in and get my shoulder on it. And then he just kind of, I could feel that it's time to work again.
Again, he's just kind of holding and lets you work, basically, right?
I mean, I don't know that he was like, he did initiate, but what I did notice he was good about was as soon as it stopped, he stopped. He didn't open himself up on my arm. I had to open his arm up, right? Where a less experienced guy will open themselves up as they're trying to hit through you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure not to do that as well, because I know that's why he's holding. He's waiting for me to open myself up as I'm trying to attack him. So the third round, which was my second pin, once I got him open like that, or I got my hook on him, I pushed him outside his shoulder a bit, and then I could just feel like, okay, let's go for it. And I went to just like see what I could get, and I got more than I expected. So I just kind of finished, like went all the way through, and I got stuck right above the pin line a little bit. So it was like I was driving this way. I got stuck a little bit here, and then I could feel that I could just roll him a bit. So I ended up like finishing with a bit of a top roll, and just hitting his big fat hand to the pad. And then the fourth round, set the hook again. He was a little bit more prepared for it. He wasn't hanging on as much.
I feel like you were a bit more in the defensive zone from the start
on the last one.
In the last round.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I felt like the third round. So my first hook match with him, he got me this way, and I got it back to my side quicker. I think we got stuck a little bit more in center on the second one, and then it wasn't as easy. Like I had to work a lot more to get him over there. But I think that's because he, like the third round, he hit more, and the second one, or the fourth round now, he didn't hit as much. He was holding center and trying to wait for me maybe a little bit. But either way, worked my way through it, got his hand, or got him down to the pin pad, got his hand a little bit at the end of it, and yeah, was super satisfied.
Yeah, and then I don't think there's many people that that beat Jeff that way, right?
No, that's the thing that I thought was interesting was whether he watched his own film and kind of realized like, hey, this is where I lose, and this is kind of what he exploited in the practice poll. Maybe I need to adjust that. Like maybe that's what he was thinking when, and he definitely felt stronger. His arm looked a lot bigger than when I had seen him at the last AWC. So I know he doesn't train a lot for arm wrestling, and I'm not saying like he got super ready for me or anything, but I think he had intentions of winning. He seemed pretty frustrated with the loss the day of. He recently was out in Manitoba, right? Like out at Billy's event, and he smashed the guy 3-0, the big presser. I forget his name. So he's in decent shape. He's got a match with John Thompson, with Uncle John coming up. So yeah, I'm happy with this win. It's definitely like I don't think he was just off the couch, and he felt strong. He felt stronger than the last time at the practice poll, because I've definitely gotten stronger and definitely more ready than I was then for him.
But also a good testament to being ready in multiple lanes, right?
Of course,
having different areas of attack so you can adjust on the fly in a game is super important.
Yeah, and I mean, in that first round, I was very, like, I was actually technically all over the place. When he drove on me, I fully Kings moved him, and his wrist came back, and I was like, I'm just comfy sitting. I started to breathe. Like, I could feel like he opened me up, and I got to here, and I was just sitting in my comfy spot, and I just started like, okay, just breathe through this and like get your breath back, because you're going to get an opportunity. And that was, as soon as he came back, was when I was able to get up and get back to my hook.
Yeah.
But yeah, that round, I was posting, I was hooking, I was sweeping, I was Kings moving, I pressed at the end. Like I was all over the place on that round, which yeah, felt good to see that we're getting to that level, you know. Yeah. So and like I said in the video before the match, and leading up to this, the whole time I've been really feeling like he's kind of that gatekeeper for left arm in North America to get to that like elite level, and I feel like this kind of breaks me through it. So hopefully I have a good match coming next. Not sure when that or who that would be with, but yeah, super happy with this win. Definitely the biggest win of my short career so far, and hopefully the first of many more. So, yeah.
So I guess thank you to Magda for putting on this event and giving you this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks to Jeff for taking the match and accepting the match. And thanks to everybody in Table Monkeys for helping me train. Thanks to Alex for being in the corner and everything. So it's an individual performance, but it's always a group effort. There's always more than just yourself that allows you to get in that position for a win, right? So yeah,
like the video. Please like the video.
Comment, subscribe, all those things.
And monkeys out.
Peace.